Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Kevindiana Jones Show. I am Kevindiana Jones, and that is Kevindiana Jones. Kevin Deanna Jones. Kev Indiana Jones. Many people I'm hearing saying Kevin Indiana Jones. That's not what my name is here. It's Kevindiana Jones, not Kevin Indiana Jones. Just so you know. So, hello, everybody. This is going to be a great show. Season finale. The last one, unreal. 13 episodes, not counting my my crazy Temple of Doom episode. That's pretty insane. Yeah, thank you all for joining me. This is great. This is it's been a wonderful journey, but I'll talk more about that later on. We got too much to talk about right now. It's been a really fun week in Indy for me. Last week I received this, but it had pen writing on it, so I didn't want to show it off until I did something with it. So I actually rubbed some alcohol on it, and boom, it came off. It looks marred, but you know what? It works for me. It came with a Dial of Destiny strap, as a matter of fact. I don't know who made this one. It doesn't seem as a higher quality as this Spade Arch one, of course, but it's not bad. But I do eventually want to get a Penitent Man bag strap to replace it, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so that happened, and then today I just received this. Yeah, there we go. It's an interpretation album. It's not the John Williams exact. It's done by, what is his name? Nick Rain. And it's the original trilogy, a couple different tracks from each one. I can't wait to listen to this. I haven't listened to it yet, but I love these kind of albums where it's some other composer kind of doing their own spin on existing things. It's pretty awesome. I also got From Nothing to Many books. I got Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade. Makes me very, very happy. And I didn't stop there, of course, because once I got a taste for a little bit, I had to get these guys. So now I have a whole bunch of the old novels with the beautiful, beautiful covers. That cover's not so beautiful. It's kind of awkward. It looks more like Josh Hartnett's Headshot or something like that. Pardon. And so I got these. I got one more coming, The Secret of the Sphinx, I believe it is. But yay, you know, I can't believe I have all those things. I am going to read them all in order. I think I have them all in chronological order for the most part. But that'll be a huge blast for me to do, because I haven't read any indie books since the early 90s, I guess. Not since the internet came around, and that took over things for me. As it did for many of us back in those days, if not already now. But yeah, so this is the season finale due to my gum surgery that I'm getting on this Friday. I don't know what they're gonna do. Last time they did this up here, they just basically they slice open my gums, and they scoop out all the bad stuff, all the plaque, and then put in new bone graft to my teeth. So that's gonna be a blast. But hence I won't be doing the show anytime soon, because I'm gonna have this huge putty thing all over my mouth, and it's not gonna be a fun time for me. It's kind of painful, and I think I have to have it on for a month or so. So what can you do? But yeah, I'll pop it every now and then. I'll pop up on other people's lives if I'm allowed to. If people let me on, if people want me to pop on their shows, we'll see. But anyways, yeah. So let's talk about the show tonight. Dial of Destiny. We touched on it a little bit when Pete was the guest, Pete Cacioppo, but we didn't really go too far into the movie, so we're gonna do that tonight further. I remember when the trailers came out, it was kind of like, alright, it doesn't look terrible, but I'm not really blown away by what I'm seeing here. But then I saw the Super Bowl commercial, and that did it for me. Once you heard the actual music being played, instead of like the synth stuff, or like an updated version of Rolling Stones with the indie theme in it, it was cool and clever, sure, but when you hear the actual orchestra playing that music, that changed everything for me. And that got me to really be excited for the movie. And seeing a lot of you all get excited for the movie really helped too. Obviously, I was excited to begin with, but I was very, very trepidatious due to my reaction to Crystal Skull, which has lessened over time. But when that came out, I did not like it at all. And it just kind of soured my taste for any further indie adventures. But it came out, and it was weird, almost scary to watch it for the first time in theaters, not knowing how it was going to go. Was Indy going to die? Was he going to stay back in the past? What was going to happen there? Like, Were those ridiculous rumors going to be true? Is Helena going to actually take over what he did in the past? No, of course not. No one really believed that. That was so stupid. But the other stuff, him maybe dying or staying in the past, I kind of thought for a second there, shit, maybe this is going to happen. Who's to say? And it didn't happen. But it was, that first time watching it, you're like, how is this going to go? Holy shit. Could they do that? And it was just fun as hell to find out what he was going to do on his final adventure for us all. And that was just so cool. I would say my favorite scene in the movie overall is the boat scene when he's talking about Marion, because that is one of the best acting scenes I've ever seen Harrison Ford do. And it really hit me hard when I saw that in theaters. It really kind of showed how far he's come from all those movies. He was always good, always a good actor, always a great actor, very, very charming and wonderful. But the older he gets, he just has something else, something further. And it's just so cool to see him use that, which he also uses in my second favorite scene when they're climbing up the wall and he's telling Helena all the things that he's been through, getting shot 9 times and having to drink the blood of Kali. That's such a, it made me so happy when he said that. And it's nice to see when they don't kind of, let's ignore the stuff in the past. Let's reference it a little, but not exactly. But those were beautiful, exact references, and it was just so cool to see them. And the music, of course, was wonderful. The Nazi theme was a great new theme for them, and the Dial theme, that was awesome. Helena's theme, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It was just, for John Williams to do that score, and I think he did most of it. I don't think he had a what do they call it? There's an orchestrator when they would the composer will come up with a main part and then the orchestrator comes up with a lot of other things to go along with it or filler. And I think John Williams did it all for this one, and that's just incredible at the age of 90, whatever, 92 I think he is. So God bless him. God bless him. That theme is just the whole score is incredible, and I can't wait to listen to it with the Blu-ray, but with no dialogue. I haven't done that yet. That's going to be a whole lot of fun to do. He still looks incredible, old Harrison Ford. He's, I think, 82? 81, 82? He plays 70 in the movie, but he could still kick all of our asses. I know he could. The way he throws those punches, he could still definitely lay anyone out at this point. And yeah, he's really blown me away. It's kind of started with 42. I don't know if anyone saw that, but 42. Now it's a hell of a movie, hell of a sports movie, and just a general, social injustice kind of movie. It's just really, really great. Call of the Wild. Once you get over the CGI dog, that's a really fucking good movie. It's almost like a Disney adventure. I think it is a Disney adventure. Did Disney make that movie? I don't know. We'll look into that later. Shrinking, of course. I can't wait for that to come back with Jason Segel. That's really fun to see him be funny, because I loved when he'd be on Conan O'Brien, baked out of his mind, because he would just unleash and be someone that you don't see him get to be in movies, which is a goofball. Like, he would say some of the craziest shit, and Conan would just be blown away by it. And it would be so fun to watch. But as a kid, I didn't realize he was stoned. But now that I'm later in life, I clearly see that is what's happening. Yes. But yeah, 1923 also. I haven't watched a whole lot of it. I think I got halfway through the season, but I did really like what I saw. And he still has it. I hope he does a lot more. I can't see him retiring anytime soon. And let's just get right into the rest of the show and talk to my guest of the week, the indie guy himself, Alex Arnold, who, boy, you watch his videos, you gotta be enthusiastic for anything he's talking about. You feel his energy, his happiness. He's such a great dude. He's such a happy fellow. And you could tell by his family that he's also just a good guy. And I can't wait to have him on, so let's get you on here, my friend. If you're out there, no one else requests to join, but I will... Oh, let me do the screen record thing. I always forget to screen record. There we go. Is it working? There we go. Screen recorded, anyways. So yeah, I really thought with the ring that was going to work, but it didn't. It did not. So yeah, no one else requests to join. Let's not get into that again, okay? I don't want to. I don't want to get into a vein popping shouting match with Instagram. So hopefully it'll just work. Hey, there we go. Boom.
Kevindiana Jones. I always hoped I'd be on your show one day.
You knew you would be eventually, my friend. How are you, buddy?
Great, man. Yourself?
I'm doing very, very well.
I
It's
know
good to have you on.
I'm not in any dial gear, but I'm gearing up for meeting Jock in the next week and a half. So
That's gear. That counts.
yeah,
That's cosplay.
absolutely.
That's awesome, man. And so yeah, like I was saying, your positivity and your enthusiasm for stuff is just obviously why you have now 10,000 viewers, which I want to
I
congratulate you
still can't
on.
believe that,
It's
man.
it's it's absolutely insane for the stuff that you're
I'm
talking about that we're into.
yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome job. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you,
And like
thank
I
you.
told you before, you're gonna get to 20,000 soon enough because
We'll see. We'll see.
people see how you are. Boy, I really like how quick it's responding to you because we're finally in the same time zone. You're in
Right.
Orlando, right?
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Same time zone, Eastern time.
This This is like the best it's been yet. Thank God. All right. So whereabouts in Orlando are you, by the way?
I'm like an hour and a half away from Orlando.
Hmm.
I'm mm. Cheers.
Cheers.
Um, I'm about an hour and a half away from Orlando, closer to the West Coast, about a half hour north of Tampa, in this little area called Brooksville.
Oh,
So
nice. All right.
you
Well,
might be
like
familiar with it.
I think I've driven through there. Actually, I think I had some friends live around there, if
Okay.
not some family. But yeah, because I'm from Clearwater, so that's just a little
Yeah.
south of where
Yeah.
that is.
It's about a 45-minute
Um,
drive from us.
that's not so bad. That's not so
Yeah.
bad. We all see pictures of your collection. It's amazing.
Thank you.
It's absolutely incredible. Like I don't even know if you can call it a man cave. That's like that's an insult to what you have. It's a man. It's an indie
I,
mansion. I
I
would
like
say.
that. I
Yeah.
like that. It's like it's funny. Like people are like, "Oh, it belongs in a museum." I'm like, "It's in my museum."
Museums could be anywhere. I mean, mine is not as
Exactly.
well as yours, but man, your stuff is so awesome. And it's just so cool to have you on because I know that you were invited to the Dial of Destiny
Yes.
premiere. So if you could kind of walk us through that whole experience. How did it happen and how did you feel? What was it like?
Oh man. Well, it all. I really. I've always been a fan of Indiana Jones since I was 5 years old, but I really didn't hit social media really hard until about a year and a half before the movie came out. I was like, you know what? All I kept seeing was all this negativity about the movie and how they shouldn't make it and it's going to be bad. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a spin on this and I'm just going to push as much positivity as I can out there because I am genuinely excited for it. This is the second movie I get to see a premiere of, or not premiere, but just a movie in theaters for the first
Right.
time. And then this time I get to bring my kids.
Oh,
So it just meant a little bit more to me to be able to have that experience with them. So I was like, I'm just going to push a bunch of positivity out there and just have fun with it and post what I love. And I made a goal I literally posted every single day. And I'm still on it. Like, I haven't stopped. I post a post every single day of Indiana Jones. And it just kind of took off and people just start following me and they just saw my passion behind it and I wasn't doing it for any other reason than just to put positivity out there and just make people smile and laugh, and just I don't know, just be myself. And I'm really glad with where it went, and I've made a ton of friends in this community doing this, and luckily I don't know how it happened, but my friend Brandon Claylow, who a lot of people will know as Trader Brandon,
mm,
uh, somehow got a little list together of people he wanted to invite, and I was on that list. I bought a lot of products from him, like indie products that he's made. If you guys go to his page, he's got a lot of really cool stuff, and it's all like indie inspired and Jungle Cruise type inspired. It's really cool. But it's funny because the first thing that happened was Lucasfilm reached out to me through Instagram. I thought it was a scam,
oh, sure.
and they initially, I'm like, there's no way this is real. But then I looked it up, and Cole Horton, who is like one of the presidents of Lucasfilm and or he's higher up in there, he messaged me on Instagram saying, "Hey, there's an event that's coming up. I think you might be interested in." I'm like, "All right, let me do some research. I don't know if this is good, legit or not." Sure enough, it was, and I started talking to him, and then I was talking to Brandon, and we were talking. He's like, "Oh, hey, did you get anything in the mail? Blah blah blah, all this stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, I got this one thing." He's like, "Oh, it's great. We're actually going to be able to finally meet, even though he lives in Orlando."
Mm.
And he's like, only thing, it's going to be like 3,000 miles away. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, did you move to California and you're coming back over here for my event that I got invited? He's like, wait a second, what'd you get invited to? I was like, oh, I got invited to this private Indiana Jones event at Walt Disney World, Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar, where they showed us all the merchandise and let us have all the food and stuff before they let it all out. So I got to see all the merchandise and everything before they announced a lot of it. And he was like, no, I'm not talking about that. And he's like, oh, wait, you know what? Hang tight. So then about a week later, I get an email from Lucasfilm, and it was them inviting me to the red carpet premiere. And I have a video. I have several videos up of just my reaction, because it's funny, because about, I don't know, in January, no, November or something like that, I started just recording my journey, my adventure, because before all this happened, I was determined to go to the red carpet premiere and just stand outside.
Right.
My number one goal, bucket list item in life, was to just see Harrison Ford in person. So this is my opportunity. What better way to see him than at an Indiana Jones premiere? And I was posting like, I'm going to California. I'm going to find a way to stand outside the gates and just see him from afar. That's it. And I have this whole documentary from that moment, because I started recording every step. I was like, this is going to be awesome. It's on my YouTube. And it goes from that all the way to the moment that I get this email. And I tell Tiff, I'm like, put the camera on. Like, we gotta document this. Like,
Something's gonna happen here.
something's happening here.
Right.
And because we did it with the other one, like, I mean, I even showed the event that we were invited to, and then I got that, and just tears, like just straight tears. And it's funny because Tiff always gets mad at me because I didn't even cry when my cat born. I still hear about it to this day. She's like, you didn't even cry when there. I was like, oh my gosh. But this is not that it's not any different,
Sure.
emotion wise, but this is something that I never in my wildest dreams would thought of happen. And then here I am I show up in California, and we go through the will call, and I'm on the red carpet. And with all my friends, all these new people that I've met that share the same passion as me,
Yeah.
and got to meet everybody. Harrison Ford literally walked 2 feet. Actually, it's funny. I pull this out. I mean, we made eye
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah. I saw that in the
I'm like,
video
oh
for
my
sure.
gosh.
There's eye contact.
Like, oh, and I'm standing 2 feet away from him, and it's just. And then I got to see the movie, an Indiana Jones movie, with him in the same theater. Is just unbelievable. I still don't feel like it was real. So that was it. And like I said, if you guys really, really want full details, there's a video on my YouTube. I think it's actually pinned. It's like an hour and a half long, but it
Oh,
details the whole entire journey of this whole
oh,
thing.
that sounds
So
awesome.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just a passion project of mine, and it's just been, it was absolutely amazing. So,
That's
and
great.
it's
Like
just
a little
cool to see the
documentary,
turn.
basically.
Oh yeah, it's just cool to see the turn from me like just planning to go out there to finally, like, not finally, but actually getting invited to the premiere, like not expecting that at all. So it was amazing, and I can't thank Brandon enough for that.
That's
So
incredible. That is absolutely
very
incredible. Yeah, I
awesome.
mean that's the dream, really, of
Yeah,
being a fan of any of this kind of thing, to actually be on the front lines and seeing that kind of
unreal.
thing. That's that's it's I don't envy many people for many things, but I envy the people that were there, like you and the
Mhm.
other group, the other people that I know in the group really well. And
Yeah,
it made me feel so represented there
Mhm.
too. So I wasn't so envious, because I felt like I kind of was a part of it
Absolutely.
through you all. And that was just so cool. And I'm just so happy that happened. I'm so happy that
I wish
happened for you. What was your
everybody could
favorite
have been
part?
able to make it out there, because it truly was an experience, and everybody was there in spirit, and it was amazing.
I bet.
So,
I bet. What was the best part of being there?
oh man, honestly, seeing everybody's face there just light up, and see the positivity of that whole place was honestly the best thing for me there, because everybody was happy. It was awesome. It was a really feel good moment, and just a huge accomplishment for everybody. So it was nice, and just everyone being able to share that passion together. Even though, seeing everybody and meeting everybody there was amazing, seeing that really is what made it whole for me.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, it kind of it brings it all full circle because this,
yeah.
you got to be friends with all these people and learn all this stuff from everyone else, and then boom, you're there with them, and you get to experience that.
Mhm.
It's so fucking cool, man.
Yeah,
This is really, 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 really
it is.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie itself seemed to have gotten some flack from many, not us, but many.
Yeah.
But it seems like the main core of indie fans really took to it and love it. Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of the undertones of the movie that maybe a lot of people didn't pick up on. There's just a lot more emotional heart to this movie than any of the other movies to me, and that's why I really appreciated it. And honestly, a lot of people really just kind of crap on the ending and how it ended with the whole time travel thing. But to me, I thought it was excellent. I thought him going back in time and witnessing history instead of chasing it just made everything full circle. And I really, is it the best Indiana Jones movie? Absolutely not. But it's, to me, it's not a bad
Right.
movie. And so just like Crystal Skull, like I'm in the minority. I enjoy Crystal Skull for what it is, and I it's not the best, but it's not bad.
Right.
And to me though, with all the other emotional attachment that I have to it because of everything I've gotten to experience, it's just the heart behind that movie is what really makes me appreciate it. And James Mangold is very, very good at leaving those undertones there in movies where you have to watch it several times to really grasp it. And the more I watch it, the more I see like, okay, I see this makes sense. He leaves little signs there. He doesn't walk you and hold your hand through every step of the movie. He leaves little clues there so you can pick up on that. And I feel like a lot of people have kind of lost that, and they're too busy nitpicking other little things to really appreciate the other things that he's trying to leave there. So
That's true.
that's
That's a really, really good point because I remember seeing Logan for the first
mhm.
time and thinking some scenes were funny, and seeing it the second time, you'd realize, shit, these scenes are not funny. These are
Yeah,
really tragic and sad.
yeah,
And there's something that he can do with this like subtle layering that
yeah.
you don't see. Like you said, you don't see it the first time, and then the second time around. Maybe that's why I didn't really love it so much the first time I saw
Mhm.
it, and then the second time I saw it, I was just like, well, what the hell's wrong with me? This movie's incredible. I think honestly it is. You know, I consider the original trilogy. They're all very close. Like they're all like this is top
Yeah,
three, and then the other ones are here.
yeah.
But for Dial of
Right
Destiny,
there with you.
it's as best as it could be without well we'll get to that in a second actually. Actually that is my next question as a matter of fact. How different do you think the movie would have turned out if Spielberg had actually returned to direct it?
Man, that's a good question. And I've often thought about that. I really wonder if Spielberg would have incorporated Marion and at least Marion a lot more in the movie.
Hmm.
I feel like he would have done that. And it does kind of feel forced her coming in at the end a little bit, but I'm glad she made it. But I do feel like there's another draft out there. There is another draft out there where her character is more involved. And so to what extent I don't know, but I think it would have played out a little bit differently like that for sure. So
Right. Do you think the reaction would have been maybe more welcoming if Spielberg had returned to do it, or would they maybe
I
it
think
may have
so.
been worse, as a matter of fact. It might have since Crystal Skull kind of got a little backlash. Maybe people would have been further less
I,
interested.
I think a lot of people were really upset that the fact that he wasn't coming back.
Hmm.
I saw a lot of negativity about that. It's like, oh
Hmm.
gosh, if Spielberg's not doing it, I don't want to see it. You know, but then again, like you said, he did Crystal Skull and he everybody hated it. You know, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people hated
Right.
it. And so it's a mixed bag at that point, but I do think it probably would have been more welcoming for people to see a familiar face who know someone who knows the story, who's done every single other movie at the helm of it again.
Right.
But I think James Mangold did an incredible job. He's very good at storytelling, and it is a different take than what Spielberg does. And I think going into it, knowing that made me appreciate it more too at first. I also went into it knowing that it's not going to touch the original three.
Yeah.
Like, it's either going to be better or worse than Crystal Skull is the way I went into it. And I think that helped a lot too because a lot of people are like, well, it's not anything like the originals. I'm like, it's not going to be. It's never going to
Yeah.
be. And so I didn't have like super high expectations. You know, I set a realistic expectation for myself and I think it worked out for the best. So
Yeah, absolutely. I more or less was the same because, yeah, like you said, there's no way it's going to be as good as the first three, and if people think that,
yeah,
cool, that's on you.
I mean that's their
Absolutely,
opinion.
please
Hmm.
do. But going in knowing that it's going to be, like you said, either better or worse than Crystal Skull, but you kind of give it a bogey. Is that the golf term? You give it like a little extra. You give it
Yeah,
a point extra because it's Mangold,
yeah.
and the fact that it's a new guy into the franchise coming in, it made it more almost more accessible in a way because it wasn't
Mhm.
like it's our club making this. Like they let
Yeah,
someone else in to make it, and you could kind of tell
no
by the way.
gatekeeping and stuff like that, you know.
Exactly. No gatekeeping and like the inclusion of new characters and how they come into the world rather than just only seeing the old characters that we know and love.
Exactly.
That is, I wonder if those things would have happened so much if Spielberg had returned. So yeah, maybe, yeah, I'm sure in some alternate universe that happened, but I'm pretty glad with what we got here.
Absolutely.
What would you say your top three favorite scenes in the movie are?
Well, I mean, obviously that opening scene to me was absolutely incredible, and I wish we could get a whole new movie just like that. I mean, they have the power to do it. Let's do it. It was phenomenal. So that whole opening scene was great. I really like the Tuk Tuk Chase. A lot of people also didn't care for that, but if you didn't see it in 40x, you wouldn't have the appreciation that I have for that because I had a blast. It was like a roller coaster watching that scene with my son Liam. We it was just us two in the theater, sadly enough, and we drove all the way out to Orlando because it was the only 40x theater that was showing it, or actually only 40x theater around us, closest to us. And man, it was just watching it like that just made it even better for me. So and then honestly, I really liked the scene for time travel, which I was really worried about at first.
Hmm.
Disney has kind of had this thing about time travel ever since Avengers Endgame. And I was like, I really hope they're not, going to mess it up with this. So I did have some concerns about that. But to me, I thought it was very tastefully done
Yeah.
for what it was. Like I said, I think it came full circle. It made me really emotional. Him seeing, you could see it in his face in some of the scenes where he's just looking around and just in awe. And it literally brought tears to my eyes when I watched it for the first time because it's like, wow, he spent his whole life learning about history, and here he is witnessing it. And it was just a full circle moment that just hit me right in the chest, like, and it was great. So I think those three scenes were excellent for me.
Absolutely. I mean, when he's tearing up looking at everything,
Yeah.
it's kind of the first time he sort of believes in magic in all
Yeah.
the movies. Like you could see him going like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
Like everything I've done, like I get it all. Like the other, like I didn't believe it all, but now this is
Here it
something
is.
I've believed in my whole life,
Mhm.
and now I'm finally seeing it, and it's just such a beautiful, fantastic scene. And had he wanted to stay, I kind of would have been okay with it. There would have been
Yeah.
obviously huge repercussions just in his historic value alone, but
Absolutely.
I know some people were like, oh, she couldn't have knocked him out. It's like, fuck, of course she could have. He got
Well,
shot. He's been
that's
through a lot of
so.
things. He's old, and women can
Well, not
punch. Like,
even that. Like you said, he is older age, and me being in the medical field, the man got
yep,
shot. He's bleeding. He's 70 something years old in the movie,
right,
and he's just gone on
right,
this
right.
huge, crazy adventure, like running away from these people, trying to get away. His heart rate's got to be through the roof. So here I am, my nurse mind is ticking, and I'm like, I would get knocked out at that
Yeah,
point, like easily. Like it was, I believed it. Like it made sense to me. I understand, like, people are like, oh, I don't like that she punched him. Like, well, Marion punched him in Raiders. I like I
that's
it
very
doesn't
true.
it doesn't bother me. Like right out the and punched him hard. It phased him.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
so it's like you like Raiders, like, and but you're picking this apart. Like to me, yes, he's bleeding. He's bleeding out. He's older, and he's just done all this other stuff. Of course he's gonna get knocked out. So to me it made sense. I less believe the whole Voller getting hit by that pipe than
Yes.
and coming back than
Yes.
him getting punched, but
Absolutely.
whatever. Again, this is a science fiction movie. I go, I check my brain at the door for these movies. I go to these movies to escape reality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a- anything, anything goes,
Quite
so
literally.
yeah, so it's like it to me it doesn't bother me, and I think another thing that's people have kind of lost the ability to kind of just escape reality for a little bit, and everyone's become like this movie critic with social media. I'm by no means a movie critic. Like I have my opinion, and that's it. If you didn't like it, I don't think you're any less of a fan.
Yeah,
If that's you, if everybody thought the same way and felt the same way, the world would be incredibly boring.
boring as hell.
So, to me, if someone likes something and they're not hurting anything or anybody, let them have let them do their thing. So, but the cool thing on social media now is to just throw hate at everything, and I'm not about that. I'll tell you if I
Yeah,
dislike something, but I don't expect you to agree with me. We can have a conversation about it. And so, yeah, I enjoyed the movie quite a bit, and I've watched it quite a bit, and I have emotional ties to it that are outside of the movie as well, which do make that a better movie for me, because that's just what reflects off of it. But still, I enjoyed it for what it is, and I check my brain at the door for these movies. It's not a movie that's meant to win Oscars, except for maybe the score.
yes, yes.
But other than
Very,
that, yeah.
very good point. I
So
mean, I believe, I think it was the original intent was, I don't know if it was Spielberg or Lucas said it, but it's like, this is going to be the kind of movie where the hat never falls off his head. If that
yeah,
tells you anything, like the physics aren't going to be real. It's going to be not based on
yeah,
reality. It's just going to be a fun hero movie. And you're right. People kind of forgot that that's what these are.
yeah.
It's not supposed to be like some perfect, exact action adventure thing.
No,
They're kind of goofy. They're goofy at the end
they
of the
are.
day. They're fun, but
You
they're
know,
not meant to be taken
no,
seriously,
you
and
got
that's something
ghosts.
that people forget.
Yeah, you got ghosts. You got hearts being ripped out of chests and being closed. You got hundreds of year old knights still alive. Like, it's not meant to be taken so seriously.
Yeah,
And I think that's why I also enjoy these movies a lot more than others. I refuse to pick them apart for every little thing. I go to have fun. I want to have some popcorn. If you can make me laugh, make me have a good time, and see adventure and see my man Harrison Ford on the screen, I'm happy. Like, that's it.
exactly.
You
He's
know?
basically he's a comic book character
Yeah.
without a cape. He has those kind of bad guy villains, and he
Yep.
gets in those kind of adventures and that kind of shit. And if you're into that kind of stuff, then you should be into this kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And it makes sense to me that there would be time travel in this. Like, why
It's
wouldn't there be time travel in an Indiana
it,
Jones movie?
it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I mean,
No,
if you read some of the books, there's other crazy things that have happened that are technically canon. So, I mean, who knows?
true.
But nothing to me is out of the realm of possibility with these movies.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Which is the best way to go into it, basically. And, you mentioned the music before. What's your favorite musical moment in the movie?
Ooh, I don't think it's one particular moment. This is another gripe that I saw. It's everyone saying it was a rehash of the previous songs. And while yes, that's true, there's if you listen closely, there's little differences in it. And to me, again, it's a accumulation of all the movies wrapped together,
Hmm.
coming full circle. So yes, you're going to hear the familiar tunes from the last movies, but it's also going to have its own little spin to it. And that's what I liked about it, because it was nostalgic, but while also putting a new spin on it as well.
Well, what I
So
noticed the second time, the first time I thought they were throughout the movie, but the second time I noticed it was just the prologue was the
yeah,
only time they were really rehashing the old stuff,
yeah,
which makes sense because it was kind of saying this is the music from then.
yeah.
This is what he's doing. This is around that time. Put your brain around that time, and then we get to the later time, the
Mhm.
1969, and the music slows down a bit, and it's not like bop 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 bop. It's
He's lost
more
his
deliberate.
mojo,
Yeah,
so the music goes with that, and then as you see, it starts picking back up throughout the movie where he's starting to get his character back. So like I said, as a whole, it's really hard to pick out one moment of the music that I like, but as a whole, I just like the transgression of, from the beginning it's like upbeat upbeat, and then we get to him now, he's had a lot going on. It's kind of doom and gloom, and then it kind of starts picking back up. So and it plays on your ears if you take the time to, because I watched the score only version
mm,
on the DVD, which is
I can't
fantastic, and you
wait.
really pick up on it then, and it's just it's fantastic. It's John Williams,
Yeah.
it's great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait to do it myself. So did you think he was going to die or stay in the past?
For a moment there, I thought he was gonna. I thought this. Okay, they're gonna kill him, which is the one thing I didn't want. I thought it would be the cheap way out. Like,
Yeah,
don't kill him off.
not like
All
Han
I,
Solo.
my yeah, my biggest thing when I went into that movie is like, please don't kill him off. Uh, that's I don't want that. Don't end it that way. But so I'm glad they didn't. There was a moment I thought where he actually might stay. I'm really big on spoilers. Like I like reading spoilers before I see
Mm.
things. I love it. And this was one of the first movies I hadn't done that with.
Nice.
And so I'm in the theater for the first time, like just like on the edge of my seat, like tears, like you know, my wife staring at me like you didn't even cry when your kids were born.
Well, it's when Helena starts crying and saying like, "This is not. You're not supposed to do this. It's
Yeah,
not your time." That's, I mean, that's her moment is when she becomes someone better, and that's what gets him to stay. Is seeing that like, oh my God, she needs me, and she has needed me. It's maybe
yeah,
not necessarily further, but I have made a difference in this woman's life. And he's just like, for a second, you could tell like, just let me do this. He doesn't want to, but he's got nothing left. But you could
yeah,
tell
yeah,
he sees what he's done to her, and then she's just like, all right, boom, here you go.
yep.
But it's such a beautiful moment that when she's kind of crying for us, she's
Yeah.
begging him,
I
don't do this, please.
felt
And I
like he
felt
was
like,
me yelling at the screen, like, don't
yeah,
do this.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
You know.
exactly it. That's exactly it, man. Yep, yeah, we're on the same page with that. What do you think of the general supporting cast in Dial of Destiny?
I thought it was so again, me picking up where, people are like, she's annoying, she's really annoying. Well, then she played her part
Yeah,
correct. She was supposed to be annoying. You were supposed to hate her at the beginning of the movie. I do think it was kind of rushed from like being super annoying or like you really hating her to expecting you to like her at the very end. I do think that, but then again, you only have a 2.5 hour time limit. What can you really do with that?
right.
So in my head, it doesn't bother me. I get it. But you go from she was written to make you feel that way. So when people are complaining, that I'm like, well, then she did her job.
Yeah,
Like that's that was what was intended. And then at the end of the movie, she comes around and realizes, oh my gosh, this is not what I want. I need him back. And then yeah, she helps him. So
yeah.
and she helps herself in a good
Right.
way,
Right,
by
exactly.
doing that.
Well, she was selfish to begin with, like
Yeah.
Indy was in Temple of Doom, and then she gets better and better. But for me, it wasn't really an issue for me to embrace her because I love Fleabag so much,
Yeah, I
like
haven't seen that.
so
I need to
much.
watch that.
The last episode of that is the last moment in the last episode of that is one of my favorite moments I've ever seen in any TV show ever.
Okay.
The way that she's just blows me away. That I knew I was going to have a problem with her when I saw that movie.
Mhm.
And the first time you see her and you see her mouth along Syracuse, she says Syracuse.
Yeah.
I'm just like I like her. I like her already. Like she's smart. She's there. You can tell she's there for a different reason. I just loved her right off the bat, and
Yeah.
it was a good idea to have her as the person. But I mean, I'm sorry, I asked you the question. You please go on.
Yeah. So I didn't have a problem with her at all. Teddy, I felt was kind of like he was along for the ride with her and like looked up to her, but I felt like he kind of reeled her back in too at the same time because playing the mother figure of him.
Ah, yeah,
So I liked that aspect. Was he really needed in the movie? No. But then again, another part with him that people, like how does he know how to fly? Again, James Mangold throwing in these little things like you see him at the auction, he's learning how to fly. How long has he been doing that? Okay, so he's letting you know that this isn't the first time he's done this. Like he's learning, he's in the process of learning. Then he gets thrown into this, but then he has the pilot in there already, like asleep that he didn't know. So again, people griped about that. Didn't bother me because James Mangold made it a point to put a little thing in there to say, look, he's interested in learning how to fly. This is it. That's all I need. Like, you don't have to walk my hand through
yeah,
it. You don't have to hold my hand through
yeah.
it. So,
Short round was driving. It's just flying a plane. It's not
yeah,
that far off. Totally. You know.
yeah, yeah. So again, check my brain at the door. He left the little sign, a little signal there for me to pick up on. Cool. It's plausible. And then, I mean, Voller, I think he's great. I love Mads Mikkelsen. I he's a great villain in anything he does.
Anything, anything.
And he just that one scene where they're in the hotel room and the hotel waiter comes in, that was intense for me to watch, because
Yeah,
that is during that time. And it was like, it made me uncomfortable. It did, but in a good way. Like, I'm like, you're supposed to feel uncomfortable,
that's a
but
bad guy.
yeah. And it was all done with like very minimal dialogue. You could just see it in his eyes. And that to me speaks
Yeah,
volumes. It's
yeah.
little things like that that I appreciate in these movies that really intensify these moments for me, so that I think he did a fantastic job. He's not my favorite villain, but I think he did a great job. And his little sidekicks, they're funny. They're the goofy guys that are like in every other little movie
Yeah.
that that's just in there for what it is.
The standard.
So yeah, yeah, I think the supporting cast did a great job. Um, it was cool to see Antonio Banderas in there. I don't know if they were trying to maybe had a different plan. It felt kind of like they had a different plan to bring someone else in, but then they threw Antonio Banderas in there for such. Maybe he wanted to be in the movie. I don't know, but it was cool to see him, and he's just an older action hero of ours. So it was cool. And Indy has all these like sidekicks all around the world. So seeing someone new like that is cool. Like you said, okay, he's been here before. He knows this guy, and it makes you start wondering what other adventures has he been on, and what did he do before with him? The again, the realm of possibility is out there for
Yeah.
anything, and you could do a spin-off on that somehow. Which I really, really, really want them to do an animated series where they can explore all of that. That
Everything.
is
Like, man, they could do anything they wanted. That'd be
anything.
incredible if that actually
There's so
happened.
many breadcrumbs out there that they could go explore with an animated series, and it's just and our friend AJ here, who's in these groups with us, AJ Locasio, can do a phenomenal Ford impression, and I would give anything to see him voice Indiana Jones in an animated series. That's what I want.
It'd be proper. That'd be proper, man. That'd be so awesome. So do you think in Dial of Destiny, was that it for Indy and Marion? Are they together? Or would Indy one more time just be like, oh, I gotta get the hell out of here? Do you think that's it?
The way he grabs that hat, man, at the end, I feel like he's got one more in him. So he's a stubborn old man.
Yeah.
So it's but I think I think it'll be done. They're doing it right now. I think they're
Yeah.
gonna reconcile and live happily ever after. So
It's best to think that way.
mm.
Do you think before all that happened, at the ripe age of 70, was Indy still banging any of his students?
uh yeah. Yeah, I mean, hell. Yeah.
Simply. Yeah, yeah,
I
probably.
wouldn't
Yeah,
put it past
probably.
him. The guy's got, he's got it still, man. He's still got it.
That's incredible, man. That's
It's
fantastic.
hysterical. I love that.
Uh, should Mutt have survived and been in the movie?
I have different thoughts on that. Again, that was another thing. I don't. I was hoping they wouldn't kill him off. To me, killing him off was an easy way
Mhm.
out. And it's weird because I read an article from James Mangold stating like no something about along the lines that he wasn't going to be killed off. But whatever. I maybe not necessarily in the movie, but we hear something that he's off doing something else, at least. I would have been happy with that.
Yeah.
Again, I don't need a huge explanation of anything like that as to why he's not in the movie. Just he's off doing something else. And so, but because of his death, like you said, we got an amazing emotional scene from Indy on that boat.
True.
So that I, thinking of it that way, I think that was the way to
Yeah.
go because that was another very emotional scene that you could really feel as an Indiana Jones fan. So, was it cheap to do it? Yeah, but I feel like what we got in return for that was pretty good. So,
Yeah.
but
I agree. I would agree. I mean, I wasn't the biggest. I don't think I'll ever be a big fan of Mutt at all. But when it was revealed that he died, it hit me. It hit me
Yeah.
hard because I just thought of how sad it was for Indy to have gone through that,
Mhm.
and that alone made the emotion, like you said, it's the most emotional one of all the movies,
Yeah.
and that just raised the bar so much to know that holy fuck, where's Indy's brain at? Where's his heart
Yeah.
at? Because he lost his
Well,
son, and everything's a mess.
I picked it up at the very beginning of the movie when it's panning in his living room. You see the picture of him, and then you see the
Yeah,
flag. I was
I,
like, "Oh
I
man,
missed that.
like, come
I
on!"
missed
Like,
it.
I saw it on the first viewing, and I pointed. I was like, "Tiff," and I was like, "No, no," like because you knew right then if you saw it that he's gone.
Right.
So, uh, so yeah,
I mean, that it shows like I don't even like this character, and it
absolutely.
killed me to see that happen. That he was killed. How many times would you say you have seen this movie at this point?
So 117 times.
All right, I was honestly that's not so bad. I thought it was going to be harder than that. That's
I've
not so
always
bad.
wanted to kind of keep track and see how many times I've watched these movies since I started watching them. So I'm doing that with this
Nice.
one because it was the first time I've really like had it in my head. How many times have I watched it? Boom, and it's just one of those like it gets bet. Well, at this point, it can't get any better than it is right now. But it's just I enjoy it. It's fun, and it also brings me back to thinking about being in California and being at the
Mm,
premiere, seeing that, and I could live through
that's
that.
cool.
You
That's
know,
cool. Anytime you
so
watch it, you get that feeling. That's
I get it.
really really cool. Yeah,
Yep, it just hits me all the feels.
that makes
So
a whole lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. Which indie movie is your favorite? Would you say?
all right, so that's always been a tough question for you, but I've narrowed it down to
Okay.
two, and it's Raiders and Last
All
Crusade.
right.
I
All right. I'll take it.
can't. Raiders to me is the perfect movie.
Hmm.
It's fantastic in every way, but I do find myself watching Crusade more often. I think it's because of more of the lightheartedness, the
Hmm.
humor to it, the chemistry between Ford and Connery is just fantastic. And so I I love Raiders. It was the first Indiana Jones movie I've ever seen that really started this whole thing for me. And but I feel
In theaters?
like
Was it in theaters you saw it?
I no, well, I didn't see it in
Uh,
theaters. No, I have seen it in theaters, but not on the initial. No, I wish. I was one when Crusade came out,
oh, okay.
so I was one. I didn't watch Raiders till I was five, but then I remember my parents telling me, "Hey, there's two other movies," and I was like, "Huh?" And sold. And ever since then, like when I was a kid, I remember I had like this cowboy hat, and as a whip, I tell a story all the time. I love it. Ironically enough, when I was a kid, we had these rubber coiled snakes that you could stretch out and everything, but they were rubber. I don't know if
I
you
remember.
remember anything like that.
Oh yeah.
And but to me, it resembled a whip.
Hmm.
So I used the rubber snake as a whip,
Ironic.
ironically. And I would walk around like that all the time. And I had a little journal that I would pretend I was writing down in, like you would in Last Crusade. And yeah, I feel like I have a lot more fond memories with Last Crusade than any of the other movies because I do feel like I watched that movie more so than any of the other ones, and I still do to this day. But to me, Raiders is the perfect movie.
Yeah.
It's even though people argue even if he wasn't in it, it wouldn't end the same. I disagree, and that's a whole different
Yeah.
conversation.
He killed Nazis.
Um,
He killed
yeah.
Nazis.
So I will always have a constant battle between those two movies. But that's it for me. I have grown to have a new appreciation for Temple of Doom. I I lately I started watching that a little bit more, and now that I'm a little bit older, I appreciate it more. I just can't stand Willie. I can't. The
You're one of
first,
those.
ah,
Yeah, right. It
but
happens. It's all right.
but then as I've watched it more recently, I've realized she's like Helena. She's supposed to be that
Yeah.
obnoxious, and I was like, okay, it clicked. I was like, she's supposed to be this way. It's better for me. And I'll tell you, the second half of Temple of Doom is some of the best Indiana Jones we've gotten.
Oh yeah.
Like that bridge scene and everything is absolutely like top tier indie for me. So I will say that.
Oh,
But
okay.
as a whole, I always tend to gravitate towards more Raiders and Crusade. So
Well, I feel like even without an indie list being involved, Rangers would be the only one that's going to be on like a best of all time kind of list,
Yeah.
because I do consider it pretty much to be perfect, like perfectly done, perfectly
Yeah.
executed, like
It's
not
perfect
just like
cinema.
perfect, like I love this movie, it's perfect. No, no, like it's perfectly storied.
Yes.
Everything happens that furthers the plot. All
Absolutely.
the it's just like it is indeed like Back to the Future, perfect. Everything that happens
Yeah.
is dead on perfect, and I acknowledge that. But yeah, for me, it's Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. But I love that Last Crusade is at least one of yours, because that
Yes.
one, well, that's my favorite one.
I do love that movie, and it is the one movie if I find myself watching it more than any of the others.
Nice,
So
nice. Well, man, if you could believe it, that's it. We've gone through the Kevin 11, and
man, that was fast.
well, you know why it's fast is because it's fun.
It was
We could just fly through it.
that was a
If this
blast.
wasn't fun, this would take forever. But I mean, you answered all the questions beautifully. You're the best, man. We're definitely gonna do this again. I want you to be
Please,
on the show again for sure.
please.
And one day I'm going to, maybe next year actually, I'll plan on visiting my family in Florida. My family's in Florida and I'm in New York.
Oh,
Home
okay.
one too. And so I am planning on going next year. Hopefully I'll have some time to get to a spot where we can all meet up. But
Absolutely.
I would love to meet you in
Meet with the
person because,
Florida Jones.
yeah, exactly. Florida Jones. I'm I ironically, I wish I still lived in Florida sometimes, because then I would have all that access to all you fellas down there, because there's a good amount of you at this point, right?
It's yeah, we're growing for sure. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome, man.
thanks to
Well, it's great to have
California
you on the
Jones.
show, Alex. You're awesome. Your family rules, and thank you for being you. Keep posting that positive stuff, and you're the best, man. Thank you so much for being
You're the
on the show.
best.
Thanks for being on my season finale.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Fortune and
Absolutely, buddy.
glory.
Fortune and glory. Have a great night.
You too, buddy.
Take care. Oh, oh, man. Well, what a show. I want to do something real quick, folks. If you imbibe, I just want to do a shot real quick to toast to you of Breckenridge. This is bourbon whiskey. I'm fearing I'm going to get a little emotional here. But if you drink, please have a shot with me real quick. I'll give you a moment to collect your stuff. I just want to say thank you to all of you for watching this show. It's funny to call it a show, but I do consider it a show because I've grown up my whole life wanting to be. I mean, I am an actor, but I've wanted to be a successful actor, be like a world famous, really big actor. But the older I get, the more I see that's not a good way to live. That's bad. That's shit. You got to it changes everything. But I would watch Letterman and Conan O'Brien growing up, and just be obsessed with that show, wanting to be on the show. And now that I've done this show, I've realized I wanted to be them. I didn't want to be on this show with them. I wanted to be Letterman. I wanted to be Conan. And the fact that I'm able to do that in a way, I mean, I wish I could do more than this. I wish I could have sketches and stuff. I wish I could do skits and like do further stuff. I would love to do that. And one day perhaps I will, if I can make this like a bigger production. I don't know how I can make that possible, but I have delusions of grandeur. I have great delusions of grandeur, and the fact that you all are helping me achieve all that with doing this show, I've said it many times. It's a great creative fulfillment. I used to do sketch comedy. That was wonderful. That getting laughs is a great thing, and doing this is just about equal. It's just about that equal feeling of it's like a kind of a drug. It's kind of a drug. Making you all laugh sometimes, seeing those hearts, but making you all laugh is more important to me, because that to me ultimately it's what I want to do, and it's what I want. It's why I'm here. It's to make people laugh and feel better, or at least smile. And so the fact that I have an actual audience, and dare I say fans, I'm going to call you fans, because I hope you are. I hope you are actually fans of mine and this show. And that just blows me away. The fact that you all tune in every Monday for this, and I'm not a fan of having to not do this show. If I feel up to it, perhaps I will. We'll see how it goes. but the mouth situation is not going to be pretty. So I don't really want to look at myself doing that. But we'll test the waters. We'll dig. We'll test. So the fact that I can bring indie fans from around the world, literally around the world, together with this show, and you're all talking and you're chatting and stuff like that, and I can have you actually on the show and talk to you. What an adventure this is. What a weird thing for this to come out of nowhere, and it wouldn't have happened if I didn't, just try. I never wanted to do this. I never liked talking to a camera ever since webcams in the late 90s. Late 90s, I thought I really liked talking in webcams and making goofy videos, but then after that, something happened, and I fucking hated it. And I'm not a fan of the of the talking to yourself basically thing. But I'm getting good at it. I'm getting better at it, and I never would have done it if I didn't try. So, folks, if there's something out there that you don't want to try, but you're thinking about it, do it. Just do it, because this has been such a fun time. This has been such a fun thing to do. I'll be back in a couple months. I'm gonna have some great content. I already have some people planned. I already have a season return. What the hell is it called? Season premiere. I have a season premiere lineup already. Not exactly who is going to be on, but I have a good idea of a couple of people who might be on here. But this has been very, very, very awesome. This has been really, really fun, and I can't wait to come back. I will be back. I hope you miss me. Watch my old shows in the meantime. I might make some other contents, maybe not talking, but I'm going to do some things. I'm definitely going to do more photo shoots because I'm dwindling through my photo dump. My photo dumps are taking care of all my stockpile, of which I used to have hundreds, and now I'm down to just like 150, 190. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to start making some more content beyond just these videos, and that'll be really, really fun, and I hope you all enjoyed that. So, fortune and glory, my friends, to you, to Harrison Ford, to Steven Spielberg, to George Lucas, to John Williams, to all my guests I've had on the show this season. Cheers. That's good stuff. That burns a little. That's good stuff. I used to drink whiskey all the time. I stopped drinking whiskey. I drink rosé now. What have I done? Like in regards to why did I stop drinking whiskey? Because that's hitting hard. It never really used to hit that hard. I feel like I'm in college again. Oh my God. What has happened to me? Oh, rosé, what hath you wrought? I do love. Oh God. Oh. Anyways, thank you all so much. I'll see you in the fall. Have a great night. Like I said, fortune and glory, kids. Fortune and glory.